Good evening, folks, and welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 470, and today we're going to be talking about prison systems, or what preceded those systems was obviously tactics. And there were some folks that took it upon themselves to codify these tactics and create systems, which I think is a very good thing because I wouldn't be here today even talking about this. And some of the systems we're going to focus on is Medusa and Piper, and we probably will touch on maybe this book here. Night Fighting from Folsom. And I think, and Jason, who's going to be a guest tonight, has got a ton of books, so I'm sure he'll have some stuff to reference. And the guests tonight are my Medusa instructor, Jason Shultz, and my senior Medusa, Bryan Cannata. I'll be coming more from the Piper lens when we talk about compare and contrast and all that, but basically we're going to be talking about tactics, the benefits of looking at these systems, but also not to glorify them and how you can go down a touchy slope. So we're going to talk about all that and the responsibility of us that teaches stuff. So if you have questions, put them on the right-hand side. If you're watching, smash that like button. Tell us where you're watching from. And without further ado, our guest tonight, Jason Shultz and Bryan Cannata. Hey, guys.
How's it going, Dean?
Good.
Hey, everybody.
The test run was a home run. I think there was like 40 something folks that liked it. So obviously this resonates with a community. I'm not sure which community, but so or parts of communities, I guess I could say. Appreciate you guys doing this. So I'm looking forward to this. So I thought maybe we would kind of define prison systems where with the same time acknowledging before they were codified in systems, they were tactics. I'm going to be particularly interested in your perspective, Jason, since you were so instrumental in formulating what we see now today as Medusa and that. So what say you on this?
So when you look back to codified knife systems of the 20th century, a lot of them have been directly influenced by the criminal subculture. You have somebody like Yank Levy, who wrote Guerrilla Warfare in 1942. He was a bank robber back in the 20s. He went to prison. He learned a thing or two on the inside, and when he came out, he was that much better of a soldier, that much better of a fighter. He was teaching the Home Guard assassination techniques. Who knows where those techniques came from? He credited his time in the criminal world with a lot of the knowledge that he walked away with. So we can go back, at least written as far back as 1942, with the criminal element having some sort of influence on combatives.
Wow. And I'm going to get back to you. So, Bryan, same thing, as far as, we're looking at prison systems, but certainly acknowledging that before these were actually codified in systems, these tactics were going on for decades. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, whether we're talking about prison systems, criminal systems, military systems, cultural systems, something existed before they became a system. They only become a system when somebody takes a group of techniques and strings them together. A group of principles, a group of ideas, they form tactics, and they apply a methodology to make it happen, and then they teach it to other people. Then it becomes a system. And it's in a way, it's kind of funny because it's almost that something becomes a system once it's dead. It's no longer it's no longer living and breathing. It's a lot like punk rock. But by the time you hear about the really cool band, they're probably on their way out.
That is so true. Like I learned about bands and then I go like, they disbanded. They're gone. Half of them died.
Yeah. It's, and well, like I mentioned yesterday, we're also looking at during the test run, we're looking at the idea that we have two approaches of edged weapons combat, regardless of what culture, what society, what you're involved in. You have the highly developed artistic systems, and I don't mean that with any kind of derision. It's just it takes a lot of education. And then you have the street level systems, the Vulgate systems that are used by the common man that picks up a couple of techniques. And from an academic viewpoint, we can call them systems or a style. But, you know, it's constantly evolving. And
as well as it should, right?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But, you know, this kind of goes into our whole discussion of, you know, why are people so opposed to looking at these systems? You know, they're immediately turned off by this whole, or alternatively, immediately attracted to it, which is a totally different problem. That they're either afraid of the criminal element attached to them, or they're enamored by the criminal element attached to them.
Yeah, which we're gonna get into. You know, we're gonna get into that. Interesting. Before I go back to Jason on like how they kind of put Medusa together, or that with the help thereof. The whole thing when it becomes system, I think what's important is that I have profound respect for the folks that put them together. I do. Like I said in the intro, I wouldn't be here talking about this had that not been done, right? I'm just saying when folks go, I'm the founder, and if you do this, you're copying my stuff. That kind of, when this tactics preceded you making this system, I don't think, you know, that I have a big question mark and concern on. However, though, again, you know, respect for Nigel and Lloyd putting together Piper. Absolutely. They deserve the utmost respect and credit for that, as well as does Michael Blackgrave, Seth, and of course, Jason with Medusa.
I'm going to throw this in there, and on top of that, everything that was ever known about putting a sharp weapon in another person was figured out by the 14th century. The only thing that has evolved since that point is curriculum and teaching pedagogy. That's it. There's no difference. A stab is a stab is a stab. A cut is a cut is a cut. Yep. And it's dictated by the physics of the weapon and the wielder of the weapon's anatomy. The fact that we're human. That's it.
Right. Which further substantiates that whole thing on, you know, founder. Okay, yeah, you're the founder of the codification of making other people have access to it, bring it to the light, spreading it about 100%. But the founder of the original tactics, that's my issue.
No. And people have been killing each other for so long. The chance
that's what I mean. Exactly.
Coming up with some new way of doing it is.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Minuscule.
So Jason, back to you. Like, I'm fascinated, like how you went through this the process of like you taking all these nuts and bolts, if you will, Lego pieces, and you're assembling, you know, this house, for instance. Like how'd you go about it?
So here's a little known fact, right? A lot of people don't know this. They think I just started out sometimes, but I've been teaching martial arts since I was about 16 years old. So I've got, you know, well over 20 years of experience teaching. So when Mike gave me the outline for Medusa and basically what they wanted to do with it, I just applied my teaching methodology, the information that I had available, and my knowledge of edged weapon combat, and compiled them into a simple, easy to read manual. You know, it was nothing more than that. I didn't want to make it any more complicated. I didn't want to, you know, be anything more than it needed to be. I didn't want to confuse people. I didn't want to make myself sound like a fucking artist. I just wanted to get good, clear information out.
Yep. No, I think you achieved that. So it sounds like it wasn't incredibly time consuming for you.
No, I mean, the information is there. The methodology is simple. It's not even a system. It's a methodology, you know?
Real platform, I think.
And, you know, we kept everything so simple because we wanted to be able to teach it in blocks of time, in an 8-hour block if we needed to. We didn't want to have a bunch of patterns, a bunch of footwork patterns. You know, I left it really vague in the manual when it came to footwork because, you know, you could just pop on a YouTube video and have, you know, Freddie Roach teaching you more about footwork in 15 minutes than I could in a weekend. You know, and I'm not going to waste your time. Same thing with soft skills. I'm not the soft skills guy. Go to Rory Miller, you know? So
no.
I was, you know, I'm going to take what I know and I'm going to try and elevate that and help people get to the next level with what I know. You know, I'm not going to mess around in somebody else's wheelhouse.
No. Can't argue that. I mean, I thought it was well done. I mean, literally straight to the point. You know, and I didn't see any added fluff, and easy to read, easy to navigate, easy to teach. Anything you want to support with that, Bryan?
It's one of the biggest reasons I got behind it, because I think it fills a niche in the combatives world. Most people don't have time to study a martial art to make that a lifestyle, but they still need to have that information. And the way Medusa was put together, it appealed to me, and it's the big reason I got behind it, is because I saw this filled that need. You know, you don't need to spend 2 years learning the basics of Filipino martial arts to be able to do something. Because what happens 15, 20 minutes after your first class and you're attacked? You come to a Medusa seminar, you do a couple of lessons. Now you've got a roadmap, you've got tactics, you've got a simple, direct understanding of what real violence is like, not some kind of idealized martial arts duel that, as much as we hate to admit it, those of us that are martial arts nerds, we love that stuff. We really do.
Sure. I love dueling. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We love it. However, there's a huge difference between defending yourself and, you know, dueling. And Medusa is about defending yourself. And lower systems, vulgate systems, whether they be prison or otherwise, are about defending yourself, not about developing yourself. I think Mike once said martial arts are self-protection. Medusa is self-preservation.
I like it.
I think that's what he said.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm just catching up on the comments here, guys. A bunch of folks are saying.
Yeah, it looks like we got a couple questions too.
Yeah, let me just back up so I'm not neglectful in this area.
And hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Good. G. Williams, Robert Small, Chris Anderson. Who's that guy?
I don't know. Somebody.
Eric O'Brien. Crazy Eric. Ryan. Who's Ryan? Maste. Michael Blackgrave. Who's that guy? That big guy in Texas or something? Adam Cooper. We got Kurt. We got Ken. Michael Blackgrave. Michael Blackgrave is, I was driving to figure out how to get Abby to go out with me. Gosh, love hearing old stories like that. I'm in between students, so just jumping on. Oh, all right, Seth. Yeah, just if that's you, Seth. And always confused when I see Mike. I'm not sure if it's Seth or Mike.
That's Mike, because the reason he's not going to be able to be on the show tonight is he's got class tonight.
Okay. And Kurt, I see your question. I'm going to get to it when it fits in. All right. So, okay. We were touched upon yesterday in there the tactics versus art. But interesting enough, what I also want to tie into this, the aspect of reverse engineering. So in other words, I think Medusa did a really great job of this. They took this platform, or based on these tactics that were used in prisons, basically to take somebody out, but they reversed it to like for self-defense. And I thought that was so clever. And it really further perpetuated me to do that with Piper, particularly in Lloyd's absence, where I kind of had free reign. But I have to give credit where it's due. While Lloyd touched upon that, Lloyd didn't give specifics to like other weapons and all that. But the fact he touched upon it, I thought was great. I just took it farther, but I have to give a big thank you to Jason, because I was inspired through that to add this to Piper and all that. So Jason, art versus tactics and that kind of reverse engineering.
Mm-hmm. It's easy. You take something that works and you drop it into a situation and you play it out from there. Yeah. They were able to see that the tactics that they were using inside the prison system were, having good results. They were getting the job done. So if you can stick that into a preemptive or even a not preemptive situation where you can, if you don't get the first shot off, you don't go down, but you get a second shot or you clinch off that first shot, you already then have a step-by-step playbook what to do. It's not, which technique I go for. It's okay, I'm latched. Now I stab. I just have to get to my knife and stab. It's not, am I going for technique A? Am I going for technique B? Am I going on this angle? Am I going off this angle? It's, I'm here. I got to get there. A to B to C.
Nice. Bryan, anything you would like to add?
There's really nothing I can add to that. I mean, it's exactly what it is. I'd love to think of Medusa, although its official title is Medusa Edged Weapons System. We tend to teach through the use of edged weapons. I think of it as a tactical framework, and this is something I constantly discuss about it. And I love the shock latch, and I no longer use with teaching stab. I actually use strike because I want to encourage the flexibility. And shocking, latching, striking, whatever you're striking with, whether it's your empty hand, whether it's a flashlight, a cell phone, a prison shank, a knife, it doesn't matter. And it's also such a brilliant blueprint, and it's as kind of counterintuitive as this is for the civilian world, because when you train, you're constantly told you have to show, restraint, you have to recognize when you are crossing that line between self-defense and murder and all of these things combined. But Medusa gives you shock. Did that work? Do I need to continue? Latch. Do I have this guy grounded? Do I need to continue? It gives you those checkpoints on that roadmap. And whether that was intentional or not, I think it's brilliant. And it gives people a simple, understandable way to deal with violence without getting caught up in intricacies, without getting caught up in the, Mike always talks about Hick's Law. And whether that's true or, there have been studies in both directions, but it's so bloody simple. And the idea of bringing the fight to the attacker is something that I've been preaching for years before Medusa. When you're ambushed, you don't run away. That's the first thing they teach you in the military. You attack the ambush. And that's what systems like that give you. Piper, from a defensive standpoint. Yeah, you're not ambushing. You were ambushed, but if you steal that beat, you become the ambusher and you change the entire script of what that assailant is doing. Because your average street assailant does the same thing every time. They tend to. And when that script is flipped, their plan goes, to hell.
Yeah. I think if you put, I've always said it, you combine some stuff with Piper and Medusa together, man, you got a dangerous animal. You know, you got two existing dangerous animals, and then you put them.
Mike says it was very much intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Piper coming from the whole facade and distractions and the momentum and coming behind that, but Medusa with the latches. I mean, you put those latches with Piper, and Lloyd had some, but not. He didn't go. He didn't go deep into it. Let me just get this question, and then we can definitely move on. So the question from Kurt is: fighting is based on principles and concepts. We often get lost in the minutia of personal bias and experiences. Agreed? Question mark. If so, why or why not? I think. You guys go and I can. But go ahead. You guys are next. You want to go, Jay?
I'm gonna be a little bit of an asshole here, and just say Medusa's not about fighting. Medusa's about saving your ass. There's no give and take in Medusa. A fight's give and take. Medusa's give until I go home.
Okay.
Yeah. To add to that, I was going to say there is a big difference. And yeah, principles and techniques work great for studying fighting in sports.
Yeah.
What works for real world survival is overwhelming violence of action.
More.
And as brutal as it seems, and as much as it strips away the way we like to philosophically frame and make our beloved arts special and intellectually developing as well as physically developing, the bottom line is I don't care how good you are and how long you have studied whatever you have studied. It has been proven again and again and again that the top tier athletes and the people that have spent all their life studying and developing these amazing skills that I give them huge amounts of credit for get killed outside of bars with guys with a $5 knife.
Oh my gosh, you look at violence
on
the bus.
The day.
BJ black belts getting killed on a bus because of it. You know what I mean?
There is a difference between violence and sport.
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to add here is when I look at Medusa and Piper, it separates the emotional attachments and in there. But yeah, well said by you guys. All right, and the subjectivity. Just making sure I'm not missing any other questions. That is Mike. Yeah. Okay, we got Kyle Gammon, sorry. Didn't he just get? I know.
He just got promoted.
Okay, I was gonna say I remember seeing that name and okay. And,
yep, he did wonderful.
Yeah. So where's the combat is no go. It's on you. You either go in there or you're dead. Michael Blackgrave. All right. Be true. Be worse than the guy. Okay. Bryan, excellent point. A knife versus a Dollar Tree. And we got the best people that do violence are the one. Yeah. Right. Okay. Awesome. Caught up on the question. All right. I've always said, we touched upon this yesterday in test run, like I feel compelled just ethically and morally that if I'm teaching empty-hand against knife or anything like that, that I should be researching everything underneath the sun to give the students the best version of myself and to be the best version of myself, teacher and practitioner. That's why I looked into Piper and Medusa, not because I wanted more ways to kill somebody or I was so interested in the criminal element. Quite the contrary, actually. But I can honestly say I can validate like doing that. Why is it so important to look at these things if you, in fact, at some aspect of your teaching involves teaching against knife? Why is it imperative to look at this stuff?
This is what you're going to encounter.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's basic Sun Tzu. Know your enemy. Yeah. And like we talked about, and I actually believe that this was some of the founding philosophy behind Piper, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the idea to develop the skill set so you could pressure test your martial art against that skill set?
Nigel brought that up when they were initially codifying and testing out against others there, and Lloyd was part of that. Lloyd, however, really focused on that the prisoners, and when the prisoners got released, how we took a bigger look and all that. But yeah, I don't think you're wrong in that. There was some initial testing against other martial artists per se.
Bye bye.
But certainly it was codified for other reasons than that.
Not my house, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That's the purpose of the Guardians. Yeah, never heard that. Okay. But Lloyd never had mentioned anything of a purpose there, but maybe that's what you're hearing over there. But at any rate, okay. When we're teaching this stuff, the whole, there our responsibility far is like integrity to yourselves, honesty to students. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean to you, Bryan?
Integrity to myself and integrity to my students.
No, honesty to students. Integrity
to my students.
Integrity to self, honesty to students.
That's I'm not going to teach a student something that I don't think gives them a good chance, or even a better than no chance. There are, like, when I teach Medusa, I teach the Medusa curriculum. I don't add Filipino martial arts into it. I don't add any other things that I've picked up here and there along the way, because I can 100% guarantee that I have seen every single thing we do in Medusa, something like this on somebody in the end of somebody's hand, and use it effectively. I know 100% this works. I feel good telling them that. When you're studying Filipino martial arts with me, it's a totally different story. And I'll tell you, this is a highly evolved technique. You may never actually be able to do this, that kind of thing. A lot of it's contextual and what the student wants. Is the student wanting self-defense, self-preservation, or are they wanting self-perfection? So, I mean, I'm not going to lie to my students. I see no reason to do that. And I don't care about keeping students because martial arts is not how I make my money. And I try to give credit where credit is due. Every time I talk to, my students about Medusa, I'm always mentioning Mike and Seth and Jason, because these are the guys that really kind of put it on the map and, put it in a way that people could easily grasp. I mean, when I started studying Medusa, I was like, oh, yeah, there's nothing here I don't know. I know all of this, but this is a brilliant way to put it together. And this circles back to that whole, the only thing new is pedagogy, method of teaching. Everything else has been around, longer than the 14th century. I just like to use that viewpoint, but,
Awesome. And Jason.
Easy. So I don't have to worry about getting caught up in teaching martial arts and everything. I teach self-protection. I only teach self-protection. So I'm not going to teach somebody something that I wouldn't use myself. And, granted, I have certain physical attributes that other people may not have. I also keep myself responsible of having a knowledge base of techniques that would work for other people. I want to be able to help people of all, shapes and sizes. So as an instructor, I collect techniques. Now, that said, if I am unable to help somebody, I will point them in another direction. I will hook them up with another instructor. I will make those introductions, because I don't have the answer for everybody. I don't have the answer for everything. And I will say that up front. I'll say that right here. I don't know everything. And if I don't know the answer, I'll go to Bryan. I'll go to you. I'll go to whoever I need to find the answer. And as far as, my knowledge base and what I teach, I give attribution for everything I've learned from a unique individual. If I've learned a specific set of techniques from, I give Kelly McCann a lot of credit because I've learned a lot from Kelly. I give a lot of credit to Terry Trahan because I've learned a lot from Terry. I'm not going to go around and pimp their material, claiming that it's my own. You're never going to see me do something and then see, a videotape of somebody else from 10 years ago and have me say, oh, no, I developed that. That was all me. When in reality, I learned this from, somebody in their living room.
No, we'll start both of these. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Keeping integrity, you can look yourself in the mirror, but you're being honest to your students, not only from where you got the stuff, but the results or the potential results, and not saying anything is 100%. Bryan?
I was just going to say, one of the things that is we're very, very big about with the Medusa community, and this as well, otherwise you wouldn't be still sticking around, is we are absolutely staying away from that cult-like mentality, and we do not need to put ourselves in positions of lordship as opposed to leadership. Right? We lead by example. We, we're honest about where things are done. Well, we look at other systems, look at other things. Don't just get stuck in one myopic viewpoint. But this little Medusa core, you can always fall back on and always use and apply it to any number of situations. So, avoiding the knife cult mentality. T-shirts.
Got plenty of knife cult T-shirts.
Good point. Like you always want to do T-shirts, but then you think again, well, maybe this is not the best system to make a T-shirt out of, right?
Yeah, and there's the other thing is if you treat things with integrity and you run your interactions with your students with integrity, it honestly lessens your liability.
100%. Yeah, that's a good point.
So there's that side of things too.
Yeah, especially in the parameters of what we're dealing with, legality, right? Legally defensible, stuff like that, right?
And I've mentioned it before, and I mention it, and every time I teach somebody Medusa, is one of the best things that you can do to spend your money on is skip one seminar. Take that money, go find a self-defense lawyer in your jurisdiction and spend an hour with them and let them explain to you what the law is. Because we're teachers, we're not lawyers. They're lawyers.
Solid advice. And let me just catch up on the comments here and make sure I'm not missing any questions. Michael Blackgrave. Let's see what he's got here. That's my project of late. Gun Medusa. Running with the principle of Medusa and applying them to a tool platform. Beautiful snub nose work. Wow. Okay. Nice. Nice. Let's see what's going next. Yes, he did say that. I'm talking about not with just respects to the Guardians, though, Ken. Okay. All right. Transparency is the best when teaching. Can't argue that. Felt the same from Ryan. I'm just catching up here. Renee's here. I'm going to take a wild guess that Renee's next comment has something to do with 355. Wow. Bingo. I gotta disconnect my camera. God, I don't know why this thing does this at times. You guys are always still reading, researching, learning what makes you better teachers. Absolutely, staying relevant. Yep.
Thank you.
100%. Can't argue that. And I'm just catching up. Oh, we got Joel here. Another, who's that guy? Have the hoodie. Yeah, I know. I want. Ryan's insisting on a Medusa T-shirt. Take it from someone who got jammed up in this game. Yeah. I know, Jason. Norman Taylor's here. All right, awesome. And we got Yuli. Oh, all right. Hold on, guys. I'm just going to disconnect this. I don't know why. Just bear with me.
Quick, while Dean's gone, let's talk bad about him.
Oh, that guy, I can't stand him. Shit.
Hey. I want to Medusa Grill. Chris Anderson. All right, let's go. I think I might have mentioned to you guys. I put a post out after my discussion. It was like about, could it be maybe close to 2 years ago, 2.5 at least. And I was talking about this before Medusa was around, or I knew of it. And so I basically referenced Piper and a Latin American system. And I say, hey, folks, you might want to look at these systems based on relevance and all that. Some were receptive, but there was a good bunch, man. They did not want to hear what I had to say. There was that emotional subjective attachment. They just didn't want to hear it. And I think some of it was due to just a negative connotation to like Piper and that. But I think definitely some of it was like, no, FMA handles everything. But I think a combination thereof. So why do you think the negative perception, Jason?
Well, I'm going to ask this, and this is going to be maybe, ruffle some people's feathers. But is it a negative connotation that's calling it, or is it fear of competition?
I think all the above. I think the emotional attachment. I think, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, certainly there are people that become so invested in a thing, whatever that thing is, whether it's martial arts or cooking or painting or whatever, and anything that threatens, and I don't mean that in like a combative way, but in a that might be a different viewpoint, that might have validity, they end up taking as attack on themselves because they've lost themselves so completely in whatever it is they're doing. People whose entire personality is a thing. Their entire personality might
be like an
martial art.
identity.
Yes, it is their identity. That thing is their identity. So anything that threatens that thing threatens their identity. To me, when I started seeing all of these, this sort of resurgence of, well, let's say this. I saw, when I first saw Piper, I was like, wow, that's a really interesting way of moving. And wow, I see a lot of potential for that. I need to understand what they're doing there. All right. Medusa. When that started getting out and I started seeing this stuff about it, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. This is a great way to teach this stuff. It is simple. So I got behind it. I see a system of Filipino martial arts that I don't know. I want to know their theories. I want to know their tactics. I want to understand why they're reaching the conclusions they reach. Now, there's room in this pool for all of us. There really is. And, some people do some things better. Some people do other things better. And it's, that's the fact of it. That is the fact of it.
Yeah. And I think everything you spoke on is true. Identity, fear, subjective, emotional attachments. Now I want to look in the mirror that there's something out there that's good, or you feel so attached by loyalty, whatever the reason may be, that you can't venture over there and look at it. Yeah. What say you, Jason?
Yeah, it's been something because I've seen both sides of the coin here. I've seen really good stuff come from it, and I've seen really shitty stuff come from it. You know, right in the beginning when Mike and I were starting to get traction and we got invited onto some podcasts, you know, somebody felt it necessary to reach out to the first podcast host to try and get us blacklisted.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because we were frauds. We were, you know, whatever.
Wow.
And then we had somebody, you know, somebody else that I'm associated with reached out to another party involved with the same person. And, you know, hey, do you want to collaborate on something? Oh, not if you're involved with Jason and Mike. Those guys are underhanded, low down, yada, yada, yada. I'm here. You know, if you have a problem with me, my Instagram account is public. Be a big boy. Send me a message. You know, there's no need for this third party nonsense.
Yeah, like if people would just reach out instead of like throwing something online or just all that, like just go talk to the person first. So much drama and stuff would be negated.
Yeah,
you know
like look at Nigel and I. Nigel and I, you know, while he was on the show, and we talked through the messages, and now we're going to be talking again. You know, all that between Piper and Medusa is under the bridge now.
Oh, is it? So they can train Medusa?
Well, I don't know if they can train Medusa.
I mean, like Nigel's students.
I don't know if Nigel's. Well, we could talk offline because I don't want to blow anybody's spot.
No. And I certainly don't want to aggravate. Or
but as far as I know, you know, there's no issue right now. So
that would be wow. Okay, that could be something right there because I'm under the impression that they can't, but that doesn't mean I'm correct. I'm just
right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But like we don't have any negativity coming out of that camp anymore. You know, they're just, you know, it's like live and let live.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great to hear. I hope that's
the way it absolutely should be.
Yeah. We all have the same. I mean, we all should have the same end goal. You know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's enough people in the pool, man. I mean, come on now. You know, we got Adam Cooper. What's he saying here? Okay. Medusa and other prison systems or to the real for the majority of the public. Exactly the same as people doing martial arts when they attend a self-defense course and are told to finger jab the eyes or gouge them there, lose inherent and like to go. It's not like to go out, lose interest, and go back to Hollywood fiction for fighting. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. We got what's Ryan saying here? I'm just catching up on comments. They're flowing in there. Headspace, ready to willing to go, trapped into martial art. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, and sometimes they can't leave, you know what I mean, without scrutiny from the organization they're into, you know, organizations that don't emphasize the student first, you know. And Mike, and then there are people that are just dickheads. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike hit it on the nose with that
one. Yeah. Oh, I'm married to a scoundrel. Okay. Good evening from Kevin Cooper. And very much interested in the Piper Delta blade discussions. Yeah. And we got there. And then we got PJ Arrow. All right. Okay. I'm caught up. All right. Good.
Sweet.
Okay. So we got through the negative perception. Okay. Social media in there, like, you know, the whole thing with like, what should we show? What shouldn't we show? I know that probably is personal, but I know there's some, like for Lloyd, for instance, you know, Lloyd wasn't crazy about us, you know, posting vids. If we did, like he wanted a private group to be posted. I mean, there were some being posted on the page, and then he didn't want that. In the, you know, and I understood, you know, his rationale and didn't really say contested or anything like that. But there's some folks, man, I just see them, they're putting anything out, whatever out there. I mean, so where do you guys fall in line with that? I don't think there's a right or wrong, really. I don't have a dog in this fight, to be honest, you know?
Yeah, that's how I am. You know, I leave it up to the person. If if their conscience is clear putting it out there, good on them. If they don't feel comfortable putting it out there, good on them. You know, I wrote the book. You know, I've posted videos in the past, so if I were to stop now, it's already out there. My YouTube channel is already out there. So what good would me stopping do? But that's why I also, you know, my Instagram account, I like to keep it very light. So I'll fuck around on there. I'll post memes of my friends, you know, talking shit as often as I'll post about, you know, the methodologies I use. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight either. I just, you know, obviously, you know, if your account's private, I mean, or if you're, I mean, YouTube, I don't put anything. In other words, I put it in my private Instagram account because I know everybody's seeing it. They're people that I chose to be on my group. YouTube, I don't put anything on YouTube, but that's just my personal choice. You know what I mean? You know, how about you, Bryan?
All right, I'm going to answer your question first with a question. Are you against?
You can't do that.
Are you against a store like, say, Ace Hardware?
Yeah.
Running ads that sell hammers.
Am I against Ace Hardware? I'm sorry, the last part.
Against Ace Hardware selling hammers, claw hammers, ball peen hammers.
Absolutely not.
It's a tool.
Absolutely.
But ball peen hammers, claw hammers are used in more murders throughout the United States than knives. So, there's nothing new we can teach people about killing other people. But when we put stuff out there, our responsibility of putting it online is to put it in context. Yeah. And that is why I think we very much should be putting this stuff online, is to be explaining why this is necessary and how to ethically use that hammer. It's fine to use that hammer to build your house. It's fine to use that hammer to defend yourself. But when is it ethically applicable?
Oh, I like it. Yeah. No, again, like I said, I see the value of it. You're letting folks know you do, and you're seeing there. In other words, they can see, wow, man, if that happened, wow, how would I handle that? I think there's pros and cons. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Nicholas, question's a question. Don't encourage him, Nicholas. Don't encourage him. Renee. I put all my special material on my OnlyFans page.
Hey, Jim Yulee.
Must be I'm sure a lot of folks in there. Oh, we got GM Yulee still watching. All right. What student screening? So in conjunction with these stuff, I screen my folks. In other words, but here's the thing, though. I've been very fortunate that it's guys I know. They're either from like Irish Stick. There's some commonality or crossover to other groups on there. But I've had a few folks I wasn't familiar with them and didn't know them, and simply it was a phone call. Like I just say, hey, look, you know, like I would like to talk to you, and I basically, and this is again my own choice and my own value system for doing. But I would, you know, some of it was Medusa and Bryan. I would just ask them, so like, hey, what's your interest in these systems? And I would just see verbatim what they would give me, and kind of in between kind of get a feel for them and, you know, what they're seeking and if it's for the right reasons, what have you. And, but to me, that's important. If I don't know you, if you're a good guy and like, for instance, Bernie Letty, you know, fantastic guy. If he's got guys under them and I know that, okay, I'm not going through that. But if I don't know you, we're having a talk. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. What do you say?
I've turned people away.
Yeah, I turned a couple of them too. Yeah.
And you know, if it's online and they contact me, I'll get back to them a couple of days later. But in the meantime, I've been going back through their, you know, social media history, you know, making sure they're not some just tough guy douchebag.
Yeah.
And I'll work with them if they're not, you know, trying to perpetuate some image.
Yeah.
If they're really interested in learning for the right reasons, I have no problem teaching people. But if they're just looking to be another asshole, I'm not going to teach you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I do some research. Yeah.
Okay.
How about you? What do you say, Bryan?
I absolutely screen my students.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is immoral to not do that.
With this,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean, I won't even teach unarmed if I don't have a good feeling about somebody. If I hang out with them and we're training and I'm an hour in and I don't feel right, I kill the lesson right there.
yeah. My biggest problem that I run into with people that want to learn from me, because I'm really into all sorts of European history and stuff like that.
Mm.
That tends to attract a certain demographic that I really don't like, and the number of those that I have to turn away from seeking education on how better to harm people is surprising.
Yeah, I just think it's a good thing to do. Seems like we're all on the same page on that. Before we get disenfranchised folks, and before you know it, they're in court and they're mentioning your name far as you teaching them, and before you know, you're subpoenaed. And no. Mr. Williams, good point. Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, good point. Thank you for your perspective. Oh, GM Norman, hey, how are you? There's a great guy. All right, Renee, let's see what Renee is saying. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it takes a while to find out what these people really are. I had a student that was a member of a cult, and I didn't find out until about 4 months into it. Oof. Yeah,
that's
some
rough.
folks fall through the cracks, right?
Well, yeah, but you got to do your due diligence. I mean, there are people that will pull the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
But as long as you do, your due diligence, I think you're ethically okay. They're the ones that.
Yeah, right. They they were disingenuous. I mean, right? I'm glad I made it deep. So far, so good, Eric. All right, now we're going to get into all right, cultural attachment with this stuff. We're not going to get into yet the glorification and romanticizing this stuff, but cultural attachment that came up in the test run yesterday with Piper. I mean, obviously, South Africa, the cultural attachment. I think that needs to be looked at, because when you start teaching in a Western hemisphere, some of the tactics and all that are not going to be applicable because for varied reasons. So I think it's absolutely, you do have to look at the culture. What say you guys on that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, cultural context dictates a lot. As I've said in past interviews, there's only one art of human combat. Everything else is filtered through climate, culture, and technology. Understanding the climate, the understanding the culture that the art comes from is a big part of understanding why the art is the way it is, and that's really important. Because if you don't understand why an art is the way it is, you are nothing but a robot. You're just simply mimicking somebody else. You haven't really made that technique, that idea, that strategy your own. And that's, no matter what we're studying, that should be our goal, is to make these techniques our own, not imitating somebody else.
No. And this is where, I tell you, this is going to be a good conversation, I think, regarding Piper, because with Piper, a lot of the balls of the feet, you know what I mean, and the kind of the African expression of movement, and before you close in the cult, the facade, the expansion of like the animals and that. I'll be honest with you, I appreciate it. Like, I think some of the way they moves, I mean, it spoke to me. I was just in awe, like from an admiration point of view. But from the Westerners, I show some of it that Lloyd gave me, but I gotta be honest, I'm not stressing that to them, just because, for a number of reasons. However, though, I do make them privy to it just from a cultural perspective and a point of origin, what is down there. But do I stress it? No. Do I show it? Yes.
Well, go back to like the shimmer. I mean, the shimmer is the thing that catches everybody's eyes.
Oh yeah, the shimmering
You know,
blade.
what in the world are you doing with all of this stuff? You know, and everybody here in America went, huh? You know, honestly, it's like, wow, that's a whole lot of wasted motion. You know, what in the world is that? And but then once you talk to people that have studied Piper and understand what's going on, that it's much more of a language piece. It's simply a way of moving, and it's got some tactical reasons behind it, like theoretically preventing the knife hand being grabbed because you've got the knife moving, and all of those things. So there are reasons behind it, but all everybody in the United States saw due to YouTube and all its wonder was
we got
somebody sitting there going shaka shaka shaka. And
no, it got really. I mean, it flat out got ridiculed by many, and many of them were in the FMA community. And much to your point, all the reasons you stated are some of the tactics, for the shimmer and all that. But the intimidation, distraction, momentum, not the force. I mean, all that, in there. But I've taken it to flashlight, as Jason and Mike know, and now I'm coming behind that. So that's where. So in other words, I showed them the shimmer for the integrity of the system. By immediately after they got the tactics, I immediately segue into the flashlight in there. So staying true to the system, but also giving the Western application to that tactic. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes it's the best we can do. You know what I mean? What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I don't really think I have anything to add to that. I mean, you can take two pre-industrial cultures, take like the Moro people and the Comanche from the plains. Two pre-industrial cultures, both pre-European cultures, both had methods of combat, both understood that the pointy end goes in the other guy, but they had completely different manners of combat.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're not going to take the Comanche and put them in the Philippines and expect them to fight like the Comanche. They're not going to be on horseback. They're not going to be, not a lot of bows and arrows. And the same way, the Moro aren't going to fight the way they would in the plains. That you have to adapt for where you are.
Good point. Can argue that. So I'm just getting anything you want to add furthermore, Brian, as I catch up on these comments?
No.
Have a good day, Mike. All right, Renee. Dare I say, my first introduction to Piper was a little bit cultish for my liking. But you have read much, made my interest. Jeez, I'm trying to have my glasses on. Jeez. And your approach. Liking that you have. Okay. Well, hey, appreciate that, Renee. The offer still extends. Anytime you want to see some of it, I'd be humbled and honored, Renee. Shaka was thinking land of the lost. Sorry. Okay. No worries. We got Jaime. Hey. Yeah, no worries, Renee. While you're driving. Okay. No worries. Glorification, that slippery slope, I mean, folks just kind of getting, I don't know, maybe they're lacking something in their life and they seek fulfillment in this, or there is a fulfillment, they're part of something or that, and they kind of go down that slippery slope of glorifying it and the whole 9 yards. We've seen it. We've all seen it. What's your concerns, Jason?
Like I stated yesterday, I think it comes down to more people wanting to propagate this lifestyle, this image, the influence of the narco culture on our community, on top of the prison culture on our community. You have these people whose entire identity revolves around, I'm a bad guy with a knife, and it's ridiculous. You're a white kid from the Midwest. Your whole thing is posting on Instagram. And it's ridiculous. People should train for the life that they have and then go on and train the other stuff. Be honest with yourself. You're not a ninja. You're not doing covert ops. You're not running the border. And for the people that are, they're getting the training that they need. These people who go into 9-to-5 jobs, working a desk, need to accept that that's who they really are. I'm a guy who works a 9-to-5 at a desk. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a doorman. I'm not special ops. I'm not a soldier. I'm a guy who knows violence and can hold down a job.
Well said. Bryan.
I got nothing to say to that, man. That's exactly it. I mean, our culture, and I speak specifically for the United States.
Yeah.
We glorify the anti-hero. We glorify the bad guy. And how much of it is sales? How much of it is people looking for that lost thing in their life? Just kind of loosely letting some neurons bang around in my brain here for a second. And when was the last time you saw an ad on television for a pickup truck that actually told you the engine size, the towing capacity, the miles per hour, all of that? That actually told you the things you need to know to make a informed decision to buy a truck. When was the last time you saw an ad like that?
No.
Now, when's the last time you saw an ad of some cowboy sitting on the back of a pickup truck drinking a beer with a hot little girl in boots?
There you go.
And what we've got here is the entire sales structure of the United States has changed from letting you, the consumer, make an informed decision to trying to sell you sell you as a consumer a product from a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when our entertainment industry shows us criminal lifestyles in a glorified fashion, and let's take a look at John Wick. I love that movie. God, I love the John Wick movies. They're fantastic. But John Wick is an objectively horrible human being.
Yeah.
He's a hitman and an assassin for a government. And what the writers did was they flipped the script on us. They made him sympathetic by giving him a cute little dog that got
There you go. Well said. Yeah.
And that's all it took.
Yep. And now when we look at everything that glorifies the bad guys, whether it's mafia culture, street gang culture, prison gang culture, it's all glorified.
Yeah. I know.
People want that glory, that they want to belong to something and feel bigger than themselves.
Especially the younger generation, I hate to say, it's just like they got lost. They're just their identity.
But let's be fair, Dean. Sad, every generation goes through that. We all were lost. I mean, luckily the military screwed my head on straight, and I avoided a lot of the dumb stuff that I absolutely know my life would have gone down if I hadn't have gone that route.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna put something out there real quick for the people that are glorifying, the criminal lifestyle. My grandfather was born in 1922. He started working for Albert Anastasia in the 30s. Albert Anastasia was the head of Murder Inc. My grandfather served in the United States Army.
You worked for Albert Anastasia?
Yeah. My grandfather had attempts on his life until the late 70s. He only lived until 1982. He had maybe 2 years of peace in his life, and those 2 years were gone due to brain cancer.
Oh.
I don't know what happened.
The Gotti family found out he was mentioning stuff. So
Damn ninja.
Where I can catch up on comments. Here's a quick one from Renee. Quick question for Bryan. How is the group coming along?
I don't even really want to answer that publicly. Let's just say that nobody seems interested in wanting to get hit with a stick by me.
I'm going through within Connecticut. Can't get a dog brother movement here
really, I'm trying to figure out how I can, kind of take my weekends back on the road like I did when
Hey, what happened?
I don't know. You just got out. I don't know. Just a glitch or something.
we thought the ninjas got you.
We thought the guy.
The guy's got me. No, but
Yeah,
my grand, you know, he had attempts on his life until the late 70s. He only lived until 1982 when he died from brain cancer. He had no peace in his life. That's not a lifestyle you want to pretend to have.
Oh my God, no. Hell no.
You know, he had his house blown up. You know, it's not a game.
Yeah, no, much to your point, man. And yeah, like that's not a life to strive for, yeah, or have ambitions about. Wow. Okay, here's a question from Joel. Dean, does Piper have similar drills to the ones we do in FMA? No, no. Lloyd did come up with a couple of drills. And with Nigel certainly could have had theirs. So I just don't want to say Lloyd out of respect. But basically a couple that was designed to really develop torque and momentum in there on the body as far as hip and shoulder relation in there. One being called the universal drill. There is the infinity drill. You could equate that to kind of like Carenza, where you're putting all your pieces together and developing your flow. That was pretty much the extent of it. There was some talk about him maybe perhaps a little more, but it never came to happen. So those are kind of the two things right there. Hope that helps, Joe. Michael Blackgrave. Okay. Yes. Okay, we got Ryan here. So Ryan, we're living in some violent times. Look at what happened to the girl in Manhattan the other night and what happened on the LIRR yesterday. It's getting real out there. You owe it to yourself and loved ones to have realistic response to sudden random acts of violence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, train for life that you have. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. You know. Joel. Yep. Love the man who holds down the job, and yeah. All right. And sometimes you're doing overtime in I-5 or may not be worth necessary. Norman, some people, because they learn how to fight, that makes them fighters, and doesn't always work that way. Yes, Norman.
Yep.
UA from Germany. All right, I'm just getting caught up here. And they're coming in. All right, we got one from Jam Ray. At 6 just went together with a group of students like that. We spar a little and we learn something bonus. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I am I'm a stick fire with a Boston Terrier. And we got Michael. What's he saying? Okay, I'm about wanted tea and book culture and maps. And okay, and we got okay, man, I'm really behind. I'm sorry, folks. I'm really behind these comments. Pastor, I'm really turn the other cheek here. Take my money. Dealing with people who are intent to killing you, whether you give them your money or not. They're not looking for a fight, returning violence. Sometimes the answer to save my life and my family. Absolutely. When you got loved ones, ethical obligation. Absolutely.
And you have to read the situation.
Yeah. And something here from Ken. I agree. The younger generations are definitely looking to, yeah, it's kind of really sad, Ken. Yeah, and I think it's an epidemic, sadly. But I don't want to be right. Actually, I hope I'm wrong. Got to play with the children. I will watch the rest later. Okay, Joel, thank you for jumping in. Nicholas, Jr., Lindsay, they came out and took him. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what this. I see the man, mean Dean with a beard. I think go on like Jason. Snipes, give me a use of night chain. Chris Sims. Wow, I was really behind. Jeez. Yeah, Christine, you're very well said, Jason. That's the truth about the lifestyle. Yeah. The bourbon in there. I like to see.
No, it's just water.
We'll get older, survive crazes. Okay. I'm hope I'm caught up. All right. Um, okay. All right. Here's something that look people started to do, and I was so glad. I think it's such a great thing. The whole thing of looking at other weapons and going through the blitz attacks with other weapons, something I'm heavily pushing in Piper, and that I give the folks the tactics in Piper, stay true to the system and the integrity of the system, but I immediately said, look, put the knife down. And then, what do you like? Do you like the flashlight? You like the tackle pen, palm stick, travel wrench, whatever it may be. And then, right from there going into anything like that. But I think that's something, I think that's just so important. And I'm so glad Medusa, got behind that. What say you guys about this, that giving the purity of the system translation, which is a knife in both cases, of course, but immediately once they get the tactics, segue into other weapons.
100%. I'm behind a non-lethal option, whenever possible. I carry a knife because I can't carry a sap in New York. If I could carry a sap or even a Dan Bong, I'd carry one of those. But it's New York, so I got to carry a knife. And Medusa could be, what's that?
They don't allow sap in New York, huh? Okay.
No. But if I could carry a sap, I could easily apply sap, the Medusa methodology to a sap. Instead of it being stabbed, it's just strike, and you just cycle that strike.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the thing. Like doing a Piper, just orbits, like, absolutely.
Yep.
And when you get older, you survive the craziness to get the 3 miners off and coming since I've been there. Yeah. Michael Blackgrave. Bryan, how about you?
Ever since
Bryan was having a reflective moment. He was looking.
Yeah, I was. I really was. I was just going down. I was going.
I started picking up on that when I had you like on the third. I'm like, Bryan, always going in that reflective moment. Then.
Yeah. I've always been interested, and it's one of the things that made me fall in love with the Filipino martial arts is this core concept that you can take these principles and apply them to anything. So that's always been a huge part of my education and my teaching. And what is a shank but an improvised weapon? When you get down to it, it's an improvised weapon. It's the best that you can get at the moment and use. So, it's like breathing. If you're talking about fighting, unless you're talking about a specific manual of arms for like a rifle or something. But when we're talking about hand-to-hand fighting, it should be principle and tactic based, not technique and weapon specific based. So that it doesn't matter what you have in your hand. It becomes a force multiplier. It enhances your ability to survive that situation. So yeah, that's what I think. It's a good thing.
No.
And it's also optically better that we are showing our students other options and not teaching them just to put the pointy end in the other.
Absolutely. I mean, moral compass, value system, legally defensible, what I tell my folks, man. I mean, that's just responsibility on us that's not the first path to go. I mean, no argument here.
You'll never see me post a video referencing Medusa where I already have my knife out or my tool out. Never. Because psychologically, I don't know if I'm going to go to my knife that time.
Good point.
Why start off already indexed? I'm not going to be indexed in the street. I'm not going to be indexed at the gas station. I'm not going to be indexed at Waffle House.
Good point. It's true. Yeah. Absolutely. God, I keep flying in here. That's why shooting them is bad. Mike Black.
I mean, Mike is 100% correct in that, and that's something. Again, the knife is always viewed as the weapon of the
I
bad
know,
guy.
huh? By the court, because we're such a gun culture, right?
Right.
You know, I know that knife is shoot so ugly. Michael, I grew up in that pastor's home, and father would always have me. Nothing good happens after midnight. Like a good preacher's kid, I didn't listen well. Oh my gosh. All right. Waffle House. Quit teasing me, Jason. There's no Waffle Houses in New York.
No, there isn't, sadly.
Every time I go to see Gold,
you're missing it.
when I used to see Gold in Mississippi, man, they were all over the place. Man, no, why? Can you explain? Okay, why to why? And I can perhaps have somebody answer. Just if you can give me a little more on the context of what you want answered.
Why? Well, once upon a time, a man and a woman.
Oh my gosh! Are you Waffle House using Waffle House? I'm using the knife on the table. The steak and their fried eggs. Let's go. We don't have a Waffle House up here.
I have one 5 minutes from my house.
You do?
Oh yeah,
they're all over down there, man. Wow,
dude. I know we're having the camp,
dude. There's one right across the street from that location we were talking about.
Really?
Oh man. There's the hotel,
and
across the street is a Waffle House.
I do like them though. I mean, when I go to Mississippi, that's the stop. I mean, there it is pretty good. All right, I'm just seeing if he's UA was going to clarify this or not. I just wasn't sure what he was meaning. Why to? Give him a couple minutes. All right, we're coming up an hour and a half. Final thoughts, any of you guys?
I can't. If his question was why, like why prison knife or why criminal knife usage, criminal knife usage doesn't outline my personal expression of knife work. My personal expression draws from, military knife culture, World War II, Bob Casper, Kelly McCann. The criminal element stuff is what I choose to teach in a crash course. I'm going to teach Medusa to somebody I only have a limited amount of time with.
Absolutely.
If I'm with a long-term student, they're going to learn my methodology on top of Medusa. It's not just prison culture for prison culture. It's Medusa because it's easy to translate. It's easy to give that information to somebody in a short amount of time.
It's true. Absolutely. They didn't come back with anything. So
okay.
Michael Blackrave is still stuck on the Waffle House. That's a sell point. Yeah, it really is. You can't argue that. Kyle Gammon, I hear the employees teach self-protection too. Oh my gosh. Tight fist makes holes. That's it. Mike Raymond.
Yep.
Will KnifeCom be introduced also? Will KnifeCom? I just want to make sure I'm not, if that's.
Yeah, Bob Casper
correct,
was KnifeCom.
If I'm gotten this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. You started that Waffle House bug. I know. I do enjoy a good Waffle House meal. I know, but we don't have anything up here. But maybe they start in Pennsylvania, Virginia, if I had to guess.
Nope.
We got
I've never seen one in New Jersey.
Waffle House started in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta. Actually, yes. Arnold told me that.
Yep. Waffle House started in Atlanta, Georgia, right down the road from Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, good Southern Waffle House. You need more riots and then open up. We create more riots, Jason. We'll get some Waffle Houses open. According to Mike Black.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Waffle House up here, but not happening. The fact, man, I remember A&W. I used to love those A&W. And now we don't even have
Yeah.
those anymore, man. They took those from us. Damn, Frank, you do want me to take you to a Waffle House next time you're here? I would like that, Eric. Bob Casper system is super legit. Y'all making me hungry. Yeah, same here, Nicholas. When I first shared this with Jason, his response was, "You really have something here. Hard to believe that was 3 years ago." Wow. So 3 years, huh? So
Yeah.
you guys did a great. I mean, yeah. Wow. Well, guys, hey, man. I appreciate you guys coming on. Unless you guys got final thoughts,
I mean, my final thoughts are: I recommend that everybody, no matter what martial art they study, to look into the techniques that are being used by the criminal subcultures. That's what you're training for if you're training for self-protection.
Like a black rape killing me. He's got an A&W down the road from his house. So he's got Waffle House and A&W, and here it is. He's just rubbing it.
That's and even if you don't like actively practice it, absolutely look at the tactics, get an understanding of what's being done.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with the unraveling of society now, what we're seeing, and like for instance, what is not making the news in a lot of these areas and subways in New York and NYC. I talked to a couple of folks that live in, and they just said it's just an overall unraveling. People are just pissed off, or they're just, I mean,
Yeah.
I will actually add more thing to this, and we're in sort of an echo chamber here because we're all edged weapons enthusiasts of one variety or another. I mean, this is FMA discussion after all. But Mike yet again hits it on the head, because legally, in most places, the use of a knife is exactly the same as the use of a gun. So if you are not carrying, if you're carrying a knife as your primary mode of self-defense, why are you doing that? Why are you not getting a gun? Why are you not training with firearms and learning one of the most effective ways of defending yourself?
Yeah.
But this and learning to use edged weapons takes a lot longer to learn how to use properly and efficiently, and requires a lot more work on the individual than learning to use a firearm.
Yeah.
Good point. I mean, and I hold myself accountable that I know zero firearm training, and people keep telling me.
You're also in an area of the United States where it's pretty difficult to get a gun, aren't you, Dean?
New York is worse than us.
Oh, I know New York is like another.
So we just got the right to conceal. We just got the right to conceal carry last year. I still haven't even bothered with the process yet because there are so many hiccups with it.
Yeah.
But I've been training handguns for at least the past 15 years. For the event that when I do pursue that line, be it in this state or somewhere else, I at least have done my due diligence, and I'm not going into a situation completely ill-informed, uninformed, and haphazard. I'm not going to be strapping a gun to my hip and running out with not having a clue what's going on.
You just dropped, Mr. Kramer just dropped a good question.
I'm sorry, who?
Mr. Kramer, UWE, the one that asked why?
Yes, I just saw that as I'm scrolling down. So you know what? Here, let me back up a bit and let's get it. All right. And then I got a bunch of folks making comments that I got to catch up with too. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, so basically, do you think military and prison knife tactics are easier to teach in a short time? And do you think you need no more? What's he asking?
Yeah, I assume he's meaning, do you need no more training beyond that?
Oh, okay. Let's go there.
One of the things to understand about the foundation of Medusa, and this is, I point my finger squarely at Jason for this, is the heavy World War II influence and the way the teaching methodology was put together then. The idea was that you have a very limited of time to work with people. So you give them the basics. You give them a strong understanding that then they can continue to practice and add to later on. It's not the end all be all, not one solution fits everything, but it's you take the basics and you pare them down till there's nothing left but absolutely what you need. And then you figure out a way to transfer that in a short period of time. That's at the heart of Medusa and knife fighting and knife combatives and, you know, most prison systems in general, is making it as simple as possible because you don't have time. Time is the big factor. You know, luckily most of us that study martial arts are privileged that we have the time. We can spend decades studying something and never ever have to use it in real life. But there are people that, you know, by the time they're 15 years old have already killed people just to survive, not to you know, not to be a criminal, not you know, just to survive. And what these systems do is we are taking these tools out of the hands of the bad guys and putting them in our hands and turning that table on them. And I think that's one of the biggest things that these systems have to offer for everybody else. Should you continue to study other martial arts, study things more deeply? Absolutely. Absolutely. The better you get, the better you get. And the better you get, the higher your chances are. You know? And don't just think that things like weapons and guns are your solution, because you need to be in physical shape, you know, beyond the average couch potato. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. The adrenaline, the stress, the chemical cocktail that pumps out of your brain. You got to be in the kind of physical shape it takes to handle that. And you know, it's not the end all be all, but it's a starting place that has a good potential to get you through a situation if you apply it immediately and with extreme violence of action.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just catching my comments. They're zeroing. Michael Blackgrave, I'll train you. Dean, I'll train you. I got a bunch and I travel. Yeah. Well, I'm actually thinking of coming down to see you, Mike. Kind of two birds, one stone. Maybe get Jaime up with us as well, you know, and get your, So, and actually, Mike, I'm bringing you on next month. So whatever you want to talk about, team. Okay, Ryan. People are pissed. Yeah, unhinged. Absolutely, Ryan. There's like emotionally, mentally. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on out there. I mean, it's an unraveling of society. Yeah, Medusa absolutely gives you everyone that advantage to deal with these situations. If you're absolutely, it's getting sad out there. We got Norman. Yeah, but New Jersey concealed carry is tricky because you cannot really carry the gun in any place. That's my understanding. The Connecticut is difficult to get. I mean, doable, but yeah, you can take Nicholas. You can train easily, and then at the range, just go with someone with a CCW or take a class. That's in choice, and then you can learn and carry still with a clean record. Okay. Communist state of New York, Ergo Bryan. I know we gotta get out of the Northeast, Jason.
Yeah, we do.
No, this is like we don't belong up here, man. All right, hold on. Let me get these comments. All right, catching up. Anything you guys want to add? When I'm just kind of scrolling down through this and making sure I'm not.
Yeah, don't be afraid to drill the basics. You know, drill the basics. They're gonna be what's there when you need them. You know, I had the opportunity to go to a closed door weekend event a couple of years back with there were some Rangers, French Special Forces, you know, police agencies, and we were run through scenarios. And everybody came down to the same basic attacks. You know, what I did that weekend, you for all intents and purposes, is what later became Medusa. It's just what comes naturally, you know. I'm not going to be, I was exposed to FMA at that point. Absolutely nothing that even remotely looked like Kali Lustrissimo or Bikini Turcia came out of me that weekend,
I know. No, believe me. That's the issue I had with coming out of Seac Antien back in the day. I mean, they can break the law, breaking the law. UK, some possible carry anything. I know, Adam, man, you guys got it rough over there, man. Jeez. In England, gosh. We got Adam here. Break the law. And all right, so Mr. Kramer's coming back. Let's just see if we did, in fact, answer his question. Thanks. Okay, you did. So thank you. Okay. Good, both of you guys. Yep. And all right. Hey, we got John Board. Hey, John. Count me. Michael, I have a gold. Michael Blackgrave. That makes blood. Oh my God, another one just came in. Jesus. We're doing reducing. To be honest, I feel like I've been doing reduce my whole life, just didn't know it. From Ryan. And Ryan, and come to Florida, boys. Where we believe liberalism is a mental disorder. I know we're thinking Carolinas. I'm telling you, at some point we're out of here, man. Awesome. Well, hey guys, this has been great. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah. Love having you guys on, and especially your reflecting moments, Bryan. I know. Here's a bit.
Yep. That's me going through the file system.
Wait, we can't ask Bryan now. He's still in reflection. When he puts his head down,
don't wake him up.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, man, I'll be in touch. So, Jason, I need to message Michael Blackgrave, David Carr, correct?
Yes.
Regarding to Adam Cooper, his number.
Yep.
So, okay, great. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, guys, you guys be good.
That was a great one, guys.
Thank
you for everybody that joined and asked questions and made smart ass comments and all the things that make these things so much fun to do.
Yeah, I love these same episodes, man. I could just dial in and talk about what I want to talk about with whom I want to talk to. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I don't know if Dean needs to grow the beard though, because we kind of got the ZZ Top thing going here.
I like the look.
Yeah. I don't know if beard would do me. I don't know if I could even. I think I'm pretty creepy.
Yeah, Dean needs to grow just a mustache, a really thin John Waters mustache.
My hat, maybe run around like Don Carlo. An old Cadillac. Oh my gosh, that is funny. Awesome. All right, guys, be good, man. Take care.
Have a good one.
All right, y'all. Everybody take care.
Have a good night, everybody.
Go reflect more. All right, guys, that wraps up. Who's next? Next week, I have to do a favor for New Hampshire. So I'm getting, which I'm glad because he's getting Miguel. Gosh, don't come to me. GM Carlito, and I'm getting Miguel of FMA. He's got these FMA supply. There we go. I don't know why I was having such an issue remembering that. So, and it looks like that's going to be the 28th. Now, Miguel's never been on before, so that's going to be kind of neat. So, Miguel Ruby, Carlito Bunjog. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to that. And then I think Kurt's also slated. It's just me, so it's really easy for me to get behind here. And then definitely will be some more theme episodes. Definitely I can continue ahead that. in that direction. Yeah. So next Thursday, Miguel Ruby and GM Carlito. Should be a good one. All right, folks. Thanks everybody that chimed in, watched, and until next time, you'll see a pin at my discussion. What's coming up, but I'll probably have the flyer out next Tuesday. And then, and Dean on the kazoo. Yeah, Mike, if you're so what, let me know what you want to talk about next month. I'll leave it up to you. All right, guys, take care.